I call Eugenia Sage.
Mr Speaker, the government is claiming that we say no to investment and jobs. That is a nonsense. It's this government that is undermining investment. It is undermining jobs in the long term because it fails to recognise that a healthy economy depends upon a healthy environment. Mr Speaker, the Green Party recognises that the $196 million in economic output that Fiordland National Park generated in 2005 depends on the integrity of that park being maintained and protected. And that's why we're concerned about the potential decision that the new recycled Minister of Conservation may make about the monorail and the Ropeburn Tunnel proposals. And that's because, Mr Speaker, this government is toxic to the environment. It's dismantling the Resource Management Act. It's insisting on rapid decision-making rather than quality decisions where the environmental impacts are properly assessed. It's undercut and undermined water conservation orders in Canterbury. It's handing out large subsidies to irrigation companies so that the state of our rivers gets worse, not better. And it's when you have a pro-development agenda, when you have the Minister of Conservation talking about balance, which in this government's lexicon means trading away a bit more of nature in order to get a few more short-term jobs, that we worry. Because it will be a real challenge for this minister to make the correct decision on the Ropeburn Tunnel and the monorail. And that's because there are very strong legislative protection in both the Conservation Act and the National Parks Act for nature. And there's a very proper process in this act, or those acts. When we've seen a government engaged in shonky deals, backroom deals like Sky City, where it favours its business mates, doesn't put it out to open tender, doesn't follow due process, we don't have very high expectations of this minister. But he needs to follow due process. He needs to look at what the statute says. Because, Mr Speaker, thousands of New Zealanders engaged in the campaign to have South-West New Zealand, Te Waipounamu, listed as a World Heritage Site to recognise its internationally significant landscape, ecological, geological values through World Heritage listing. Those New Zealanders recognise the importance of our National Parks Act, they understanding the meaning of that Act when it says that parks are to be administered, and I quote, so that they shall be preserved as far as possible in their natural state, that they should be preserved in perpetuity as national parks for their intrinsic worth and for the benefit, use and enjoyment of the public, and that's because, Mr Speaker, they contain scenery of such distinctive quality, ecological systems or natural features so beautiful, unique or scientifically important that their preservation is in the national interest. Mr Speaker, National doesn't understand about preservation and protection of nature. That's why the minister must talk to tourism industry in Te Anau. They have overwhelmingly said that the Ropeburn Tunnel would be bad for tourism. It would undermine local businesses in Te Anau because by putting people in an underground bus for 11 kilometres where they see nothing of the national park, they have no immediate experience of the park during that tunnel journey. They are not promoting clean, green New Zealand. It's not an experience that is consistent with our international reputation. It's not why visitors come here to go underground. They come here to experience what is distinctive, special and unique about New Zealand. It is these natural landscapes, it is our national parks, and yet government proposes to undermine this by its Balancing Act, which is not a legal test that is anywhere in either the Conservation or the National Parks Act. And then we have the monorail. The Conservation Act outlaws logging on conservation land, yet the monorail promoters, Riverstone Holdings, want to clear and log nearly 20,000 trees to create a 30-kilometre scar through the Snowdon Forest Conservation Area. It is astounding, Mr Speaker, that this proposal has got this far. These values need to be protected in our national parks and conservation areas because they are part of our public conservation estate and our national heritage, not for despoilation.
Members, the time for this debate has expired. Call on Government Order of the Day number 1.